I sort of suspect there might be a few more people joining in. It's been so lovely to see how much interest there is for this kind of work. I'll say a bit about my connection to it. And I did a course to facilitate this type of writing a few years ago. And that was also my introduction to this kind of writing. And I just loved it. And, like many of you, I've been meditating for many, many years. But somehow this process of writing and using images opened up a way of relating to my own being that somehow it just doesn't work for me in the same way in the meditation. But what then also started to happen was that the writing and the way images seem to work, that I started to understand better what happened in a meditation sometimes. So it was a lovely way that it fed into each other. So I hope something similar will happen for you as we're doing this kind of writing. But let's just see. So a few things I wanted to say to start the actual writing part. We've got quite a lot of people in the group at the moment. So I started this writing group at the beginning of the lockdown to support people also with, everything that came up in the lockdown. And I think I've got about 12 people in that group. So we've got quite a large number. And so we won't probably get the same intimate space as we would have with a smaller amount of people. But yet I do think it's very, very worthwhile to do this together. So Sangadara, I'm just going to go to the chat, just going to the chat for a minute. Yes, the rest of the time, Sharon, it starts at 9. So that's the start time. I was wondering if there's anyone. I'm going to ask Sangadar to share the screen, and then we see a poem which has something to do with the atmosphere around the writing. Is there anyone who would like to read that out? Jnanuruchi, thank you. Lovely to see you. Could you read this out for us?
Of course, yes, already.
Yeah.
Writing Well by Nigel Gibbons. Write without self-criticism. Respond to our words from your feelings. Ignore grammar, spelling, and getting it right. Take the words gently in your hands and do not crush them with criticism. Invite the words to nourish and refresh you. No need to share if you don't want to. Go where the words lead, but only as far as you want. Wise words are not necessarily complicated or difficult. They are often simple and straightforward. Excellence is not required. There is always someone who writes better, but they do not write your words. Listen with your ears and from your heart. Let the words remain confidential to us and do not scatter them thoughtlessly.
Oh, thank you. I feel quite moved. You just writing that like that. Thank you. That's lovely. Just wanted to say a few things about it. Just to draw out this write without self-criticism. I think we're often so much inclined, I think some of us just thinking about that red, if you grew up in the time of pens, you get the red pencil going through your writing and people correcting your writing, and I myself, because I've been writing quite a lot for publication, you get the editor and they're going to suggest all sorts of things. So it's nothing at all about that. So just write whatever comes up. It doesn't matter whether there is the punctuation isn't right, whether the spelling isn't right. It's just, this doesn't matter. It is not about producing a beautiful text or a correct text. So that kind of self-critical voice, just give it a break. It's Sunday morning in the UK. Let's just, the self-criticism can just take a back seat, I thought. And yes, to take the words gently in your hands and do not crush them with criticism refers to the same thing, doesn't it? And also just really wanted to draw out for later, no need to share if you don't want to. So it's not like we're going to read out our text to each other. We can share parts of it if we want to, but there's nobody who is going to ask you to do that or expect you to do that. And I think I love this about us being in our own space, as nobody's going to sit next next to us and kind of look at our paper. You see what I mean? You could just write exactly what you want, just from your heart. It doesn't matter. Nobody needs to read it. It's just for you. It's for you only. And another thing I just wanted to come back to is this: go where the words lead, but only as far as you want. So that is just listening in with your own gut feeling, your own heart. You don't have to go to places that don't feel right to you, that feel too scary or that don't feel safe. Just follow your own instinct there. You don't have to go further than that. You don't have to challenge yourself even. And I also love this thing about that wise words are not necessarily complicated. So it can be incredibly simple and very effective. And also, I love the excellence is not required. And then there is always someone who writes better, but they do not write your words. So that's beautiful. We all got our own words, and they're important. They're important for us to express them, and they belong. They belong. And so listen with your ears and from your heart. That's also in relation to others. So because we've got such a big space, we won't be able to set up a safe space as we would in a live sort of a small setting. But this is just, I think, for us to relate to each other in the session. Yeah. Okay, so quite a lengthy introduction, but I hope I'll have conveyed the spirit of this all. And in terms of the writing that we're going to start, don't spend too much time, if you can, thinking in the head, as it were. Just write. And if you feel there's nothing in your head you'd like to write, maybe just repeat your last sentence. So the idea is to keep in a flow, to be in some sort of flow. That's the idea. And also the literal mind, I think we need to kind of give that a seat with the critical mind. They just go off, on a holiday today. Don't belong here today. Okay, just everything is wide open. Yeah. Okay, so here we go. Finally, I hope everybody's got their writing gear at hand. I've got my Lamy pen that I love. I love my Lamy pen, writing with that, and I've got my notebook. You see, matching. And so anything that you've got, and if you do want to continue with this kind of thing, it's going to be great to have your own beautiful notebook. But I'm sure you've got one, because Buddhists tend to give each other lovely, beautiful notebooks, don't they? I've got a whole pile of them somewhere, and really using them. So here we go. We've got 3 prompts today, and they're each about 10 minutes. I shall let us know. I'll tell you maybe a few minutes when the period has come to an end. I also have my bell to indicate the end. So there's 3 periods of 10 minutes, and we'll start now with my prompt. So do whatever you feel best in terms of how you sit, where you sit, video on, off, doesn't matter to me. We'll see each other later. So this is an exercise from a woman called Myra Schneider, a book called From Image Explorations. I can share all of that information later with you if you're interested. So here we are, our first prompt. Imagine you are by yourself in a cave. And you could write about yourself as I, or you could say she or he, doesn't matter. There's only a little light, and it's very quiet. Picture the cave's shape, its walls, its ledges, its crevices. Can you see water, stalagmites or stalactites? Think about some of these things: the ground underfoot, the temperature, the dimness, the smell. Write about what you can see, touch, and smell. Include your feelings and maybe also how you came to be in that cave. I'll read this out again, but you could just ignore me if you already started with this. So imagine you are by yourself in a cave. Write as he or she, if that's better or nicer. There's only a little light and it's very quiet. Picture the cave's shape, its walls, its ledges, its crevices. Can you see water, stalagmites? Think about some of these things: the ground underfoot, the temperature, the dimness, the smell. Write about what you can see and touch and smell. Include your feelings and maybe how you came to be in the cave. And if you don't feel anything coming up, just write about anything that's coming up in your mind. Doesn't matter. But if you do end up in that cave, that would be fab. Yeah. So that's 10 minutes. About 2 minutes left in this prompt. That's our first prompt finished, and you obviously can keep writing or finish your sentence, whether you're in a passage. But now this is the next prompt, which was an equal amount of time. So we're continuing, we're still in the cave, and you hear a sound or you hear sounds which has or have a strong effect on you. Write about this. So you hear a sound or sounds that have or has a strong effect on you. Write about this. That's our next bit. And don't think too much, just write whatever. Yeah. A few minutes left in this prompt. Okay, time to maybe finish the sentence that you're writing on, because we are moving into our last prompt on this piece. So here's the next prompt. You become aware of someone or something in the cave. So you become aware of someone or something in the cave. Find a way of developing the piece. Find a way of developing the piece. So that's the next 10 minutes. So don't think too much. Just keep the flow going if you can.
Please, could you say that again? I missed it.
Sure, yeah, absolutely. You become aware of someone or something in the cave. Find a way of developing the piece.
Sorry, Yashibedi, is that develop the piece?
Developing your writing, developing...
Oh, the piece, right. Okay, I
yeah,
see.
that piece, yeah. The story or whatever, however you call it, that has come out.
Right, yeah.
Out. Yeah, okay, thank you. last few minutes of this session of writing. So time to maybe finish that last sentence. And now we just have about 5 minutes in which we can, well, if you want to, it's obviously up to you, just read what you've written, and maybe if you want to add anything anywhere, or just make a few notes about anything that struck you, anything you learned. Or so this is just 5 minutes or so of reflecting on the writing we've just done. And you might or might not want to make a few notes for yourself, but that's up to you. Yeah, just reading all the stuff I've just been writing. So let's see. So you could keep going with that if you want to. Thanks so much for coming, and I personally really loved it, and I hope that you got something from it. And just sit with yourself, be kind, hopefully, to yourself, and then I'll hopefully see you soon. If you want to put anything in the chat or unmute and say something, it's nearly time to say goodbye. So now would be a good time. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes,
Thank you.
very good.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Yashabodi. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Tim. Thank
Wonderful
you, Barbara.
morning.
Thanks, everyone.